Welcome back, friends. I am Rukesh sir from Lok School of Science, Bamanwa. Today, we discuss a last topic of the chapter number 1, Physical World. The topic is a fundamental laws of the nature. But before that, I would like to revise one point, that is a unification of the fundamental forces, right? So what do you mean by the unification? You know very well. What do you mean by unification? You know very well. Previously we were discussed about the word unification. So let us revise that. What do you mean by the unification? Unification means the different types of the phenomena occurring around us, right? We can explain with the help of the common universal law. That is a unification. Similarly, we here discuss about a unification of the fundamental forces. So what is the unification of the fundamental forces? Different types of the forces in the nature is a common aspect of the one force. That is a unification of the fundamental forces. Different scientists and physicists had made a try to unify the different types of the fundamental forces, right? So here we discuss a few of the scientists. They were made a try a unify a different types of the fundamental forces, that are this. So the first scientist is a Newton. You already know the name of the scientist Newton. What the Newton was derived? Newton was derived a universal law of gravitation. He give us a idea about a gravitation, right? And he unified the celestial object and the terrestrial object under a common law, and this law is the universal law of the gravitation. So the Newton was unified that the celestial object and the terrestrial object under a common law of the universal law, under a common law of the universal law of gravitation. So what do you mean by the celestial object? Celestial object, that are the objects on the astronomical objects. The objects which are in a space are considered as a celestial object, and the object which are on the earth is considered as a terrestrial object. So for that, both the celestial object and the terrestrial object, Newton states that one common law of gravitation. You know the what is the law of the gravitation. Then after, Austen, Faraday and Ampere unified the electric and magnetic phenomena in a common aspect of the electromagnetism, right? The Austen first observed the when the current is passing through the conductor, the magnetic field will be produced, and it he was states that the electric field and magnetic field is inseparable. Then after, Faraday think about that from the electricity we can convert the magnetism, we can produce the magnetism. From the magnetic field we can also produce a electrism. So these scientists were trying to unify the electric field and the magnetic field under a common field, that is the electromagnetism, right? The branch, newly established branch and most useful branch of the physics, that is the electromagnetism. Next, James Clerk Maxwell. He was unified the electromagnetism and the optics, right? He proved that the light is a high frequency electromagnetic wave. With the help of the differential equation, right, the Maxwell was proved that the light is a one type of the electromagnetic wave, and he unified the electromagnetic wave under a optics. Light and optics are a common under a common branch, that is a electromagnetism. So by deriving the differential equation of the light, right, This differential equation of the light is similar to the differential equation of the electricity and the magneticity. So Maxwell states that the light is a one type of the electromagnetic wave. He, he was calculated a frequency of the light is a very high compared to the other electromagnetic wave. Then after Glasgow, Salam and Weinberg given an idea that the electromagnetic wave and the weak nuclear force are under a common force that is called the electroweak interactive force, right? So Glasgow, Salam and Weinberg unified that the electromagnetic force and the weak nuclear force is a common aspect of the one force. The force is called the electroweak interactive force, or we can say the only the electroweak force. One another scientist is there, right? That is not in this table, but you know the name of the scientist is Einstein. Einstein was trying to unify the electromagnetic force and the gravitational force under a common force, but he was not get a success in this to unify the electromagnetic force and a gravitational force. So Einstein was failed to explain a common force regarding a electromagnetic force and the gravitational force. So these are the few scientists, and this unification is done day by day, improved by the day by day, right? New things will invented day by day, and the unification is done in the day by day. Some of the natural phenomena occurring around us also unified under a common laws, right? That is a unification. Different types of the forces is established in the nature, and these different types of the forces are unified to the common fundamental forces. So to unify the different types of the fundamental forces, scientists were keep in mind is also a reductionism. What is the reductionism? We were discussed previously also, but here we define a little word about a reductionism. What is the reductionism? Reductionism means any different phenomena occurring around us, we are going deep to the microscopic level. For example, in the thermodynamics phenomena of the heat engine, we are going deeply to the related to the temperature, entropy, internal energy associated with the system. We study about these different types of the microscopic level physical quantities, right? And that is a reductionism. So unification and the reductionism is the most important aspect of the scientist, right? Now we study about a important point, that is the law of conservation of the nature. Fundamental laws of the conservation of physics, or we can say the fundamental laws of the conservation of the nature, right? So first of all, what do you mean by the conservation? What do you mean by the conservation? The conserved physical quantities. The physical quantity which remains constant with the time is called the conserved physical quantity. So conservation of any physical quantity is nothing but that physical quantity is remains constant, remains unchanged with a time. That's we can say the physical quantity is conserved. For example, if we considering any object under an external force, when we apply a force to the any body, the position of the body changes, the motion body is in the motion. So we can say that when we apply a external force on the body, right, the kinetic energy of the associated with the body will change, the potential energy associated with the body will change, but the total mechanical energy associated with the body remains constant. So here we can say that when we apply an external force to the body, the total mechanical energy of the body remains constant, right? So we taking four different types of the physical quantity as a conservation. So we are going a four different conservation of the four different physical quantity, that is the energy, linear momentum, angular momentum, and a charge. And according to this, four different fundamental laws of the conservation in the physics. So let us start with the first fundamental laws, that is the law of conservation of energy. You all of you know that the law of conservation of energy. In the previous standards, you have studied about the law of conservation of the energy. But here we study with the help of the some example. What is the law of conservation of energy? The total energy in the universe remains unchanged with the time. That we considering a conservation of energy. Conservation of energy means energy remains constant, right? The total energy in the universe remains constant. Energy neither be created nor be destroyed, right? Energy, it can only be transferred from the one form to the another form, right? This statement is known as the law of conservation of energy. For example, if we release one cricket ball from the some height, right? As the cricket ball is at a some height, it has a some amount of the potential energy. When we release this cricket ball from the some height, this potential energy is converted into the kinetic energy, right? One form of the energy is converted into the kinetic energy, right? But the total of the potential energy and the kinetic energy remains constant, right? So that is the conservation of the energy. What do you mean by the conservation of the energy? The total energy in the universe remains constant. So look at the picture. When the ball is falling from a some height, its potential energy is converted into the kinetic energy. Similarly, if we consider, if we throw a ball in a upward direction, we supply a some amount of the energy, and this energy is supplied to the cricket ball in the form of the kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy is converted into the potential energy. So as the ball is traveling in the upward direction, right, its kinetic energy is decreases and the potential energy is increases. At the maximum height, the potential energy becomes maximum and the kinetic energy becomes a zero. So from this point, the ball moving in the downward direction. Now second fundamental law is a law of conservation of linear momentum. First of all, what do you mean by the linear momentum? Linear momentum is defined as a product of mass of the body m and the velocity v is called the linear momentum. So linear momentum is nothing but the product of the mass of the body and the velocity v. It is denoted by p. So you can write a formula of linear momentum is a p is equal to mv. Suppose we consider the different types of the body which has a heavier mass, right? Two bodies moving with the same velocity. One is a heavier mass and another is a lighter in the mass. So heavier mass having a higher linear momentum and the lighter mass having a low in the linear momentum. So conservation of this linear momentum, that is a linear momentum remains constant with the time, right? But when if the resultant external force acting on a body is zero, or we can consider if the resultant force acting on a system is zero, then the total linear momentum remains constant. Okay, until and unless we doesn't apply any force on the body remains stationary. That its a linear momentum does not change, right? So this statement is known as the law of conservation of linear momentum. For example, suppose we fire a bullet from a gun, right? Gun applies the force on the bullet and bullet moving in the upward direction with the some amount of the linear moment, but the similar linear momentum is supplied to the gun in the backward direction, right, with the help of the bullet, right? So you experience this whenever you fire a bullet from a gun, you experience the force in the backward direction. This is due to the law of conservation of linear momentum. Now, another fundamental law is a law of conservation of angular momentum, similar to the linear momentum. If the resultant torque acting on a system is zero, then the total angular momentum remains constant. Now, here what is the torque? In the linear motion, the force acting as one important role. Similarly, in the angular motion, the torque acting an important role. So, the torque is a similar quantity of a force, right? So, we will study in a later chapter, right? So, if the net torque, if the resultant torque acting on a body is zero, then the total angular momentum remains constant, and this statement is known as the law of conservation of the angular momentum. And the last fundamental law, that is the law of conservation of the charge. Charge, you know, electric charge, positive charge and the negative charge. So the electric charge of the system remains constant. Conservation of charge means the electric charge in the system remains constant. But when in an isolated system, right, in an isolated system, the net charge on the system remains constant. So now what do you mean by the isolated system? Isolated system, that is the system in which the charge neither be enter to the system nor be exist from the system, and this system is known as the isolated system. So in this type of the system, the algebraic sum of the electric charge remains constant. Okay, when the system is said to be isolated, if the net charge on the system remains constant with the time. So the law of conservation of the electric charge means in an isolated system, the net charge on the system remains constant with the